Folks, greetings. I want to welcome you again to this platform. This is Global Leadership Perspective, and today again I want to talk about the summit that took place this week in Paris, the new Global Financial Summit. And last time I looked at what Ramaphosa brought to the attention of the world, and today I want to look at the sentiments, rather the things that Mr. Ruto, the president of Kenya, again brought to the attention of the world. And in this case, I want to appreciate the kind of the statements he made. These are bold statements, the same statement that Mr. Ramaphosa was able to bring across, and in the spirit of Pan-Africanism, I think this statement that need to be considered, need to be taken very seriously. And one of the things that he talked about the need for the new financial global architecture. That Mr. Ruto said that indeed there is a need to ensure that in this new financial global architecture, that the issue of equity is well addressed, and in this regard, he said that, you know what, as African countries, they want to come on board where some of this new architecture is concerned as partners, as people who are there to make decisions, not sitting there others to make decisions for them, then they are called later on. And so he said, you know what, this needed to be addressed, and Africans' contribution is very important and needs to be valued because it has ability to add premiums where the continent is concerned. And of course, we have the conventional global financial institutions such as the World Bank, IMF, and some of these institutions, he was able to say that they have not been able to serve the interests of Africa. Instead, they are serving the interest of a few. And so this needs to be addressed. And the second issue that he talked about is the issue of debt. He said that these institutions have been designed to ensure that Africa remains in debt. And he said this is not right. Africa need to be considered, and that's why new reforms are needed in such global financial institution, so that everybody can be brought on table as a contributor and as an equal member. And so all members are needed to be treated, or needs to be treated with respect, and they need to be treated as equal member. And also he talked about there's a need to develop a certain percentage where payment is concerned, because he said as Africans, they are also countries, they want also to pay, and they are willing to pay. They do not want to come on board as beggars. They want to contribute to this, but they want to contribute not just in paying, also to contribute in decision making. And though he was quick to mention the developed countries have ability to pay more, and in regard to that, there could be metrics so that African countries, especially the developing one, could pay commensurate, as in not necessarily in accordance to the developed world. And so the issue of loan payments, he was very categorical. He said, you know what, because some of these financial institutions, they have been designed to ensure that Africa is in debt, and they remain to be in debt for ages, and that is one way they are able to control some of these African countries. That's why, for example, when some of these institutions, they give some of these countries loan, they also dictate areas in where they, in short, they dictate some of the policies and to be formulated, and also how to some extent governance needs to be implemented in these countries, and that there is a sense that it infringes on the right of sovereignty and the independence of these particular countries, and that was not right. So the issue of financing has to be dealt as an issue of financing, not using these institutions as a tool, or some of the countries they weaponize them and they really take advantage of them when they want to do some of the things. So he said that specifically these loans that these institutions have given to some of the African countries, and their loans in huge percentage, in huge figures, they need to be postponed, so that this money that they should be paying, these African countries can take advantage of this money, develop their countries, then later on they'll be able to pay without any challenge. Though I know there are many critiques where that is concerned, but in terms of ideology, I feel it probably makes sense. But in terms of implementation and the real issues on the ground may really be another issue. He talked about the creation of the new global financial organizations, which I've also to some extent already mentioned about it, with equal participation and decision making, with equal pay of the global tax, because he said as Africa they're willing to pay. They are not beggars, and they do not want to be treated as beggars. He also said Africa is coming on board with assets. When you talk about things such as energy, be it solar energy, be it wind energy, hydro, the thermal, he said, and also the population, in terms of the young population as a continent has, that these are some of the assets that Africa has, and so they are coming with these assets on the table. And for that reason, they need to be treated as equal partners. And for that reason, decisions need to be made when they are also present on the table, not when they are absent on the table. On the issue of loans and percentage, he was able to indicate that they are that apparently there is a challenge, because some of these developed countries, they take similar loans, but they pay with a lesser percentage, whereas the African countries, they take the same loan but with a higher, with a more percentage rate. And he said that is not right. There is no equality and equity where that is concerned, and that needed to be addressed with certain urgency, and that's why reforms are needed in some of these financial institutions. So in short, this was really a meeting that had a share of it, and some vis-a-vis some of the issues at the background, but giving advantage to the things that he mentioned. I feel these are legitimate things that concerns the people of Africa, and they need to be supported and to be addressed, so that there could be a change in perspective and also in implementation. The King bless Africa.